Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Hope you're all well. Now, before we kick off with this webinar session, if anybody's having any sort of technical challenges in viewing this live stream at all, what I highly recommend is to go through the usual kind of tech troubleshooting that we all tend to go through if something doesn't work for us first time around. So if you are tuning in on a web browser, either on your laptop or desktop computer, feel free just to hit that little refresh icon. Alternatively, if you are tuning in on a mobile device like your smartphone or a tablet device, feel free just to come out of the YouTube app and then click back on the link that you received for this webinar session, and hopefully everything should be working for you. Also, something that'd be a really good idea for this webinar session is to grab yourself a pen and paper, just so you can kind of jot down some notes as we progress throughout this session. Okay, so I hope everybody's okay and can kind of hear and see me clearly. So welcome to this Google Digital Garage webinar session all about digital marketing strategy, which is delivered today in partnership with Brunel University London. So I'll kick off with a little bit about me. I'm going to be your webinar presenter. My name is Rikesh. So I'm a trainer for Google's digital skills program, Google Digital Garage. As well as that, I'm also a digital marketer. So I work with businesses to help them to not only create, but to also grow an online presence in order to attract more customers and clients respectively to their business offering in general. And kind of the foundational point that I always kind of discuss with anybody new that I tend to work with is to create kind of a plan or create like a strategy. Because once you have a plan or once you have a strategy in place, you can work from that very blueprint to kind of get to where you want to get to, or to achieve the goals that you've set out for your organization as well. And that's going to be kind of the theme of today's webinar session on digital marketing strategy. So that's a little bit about me. I'd also like to introduce to you at this stage my colleague and fellow Google Digital Garage trainer, and that is Glenn. Now, Glenn is going to be our wonderful chat moderator. So you might have noticed on the right-hand side of your screen that there's a live chat box on YouTube. That is your space over the course of this next hour to drop in your comments, drop in your questions that you might have into that live chat box. You will simply just need to sign into your YouTube account, which is very quick and easy to do. And once you've done that, you can type away in that live chat box with any comments or questions. And either myself and or Glenn will be able to kind of pick up on as many of those throughout the time that we have together. Now, so I know some of you have been getting involved, and a question that myself and Glenn put out there was just kind of learning a little bit more about where you are all kind of tuning in from. I guess the beauty of the internet is that we can kind of tune in from different parts of the world. So we've got the likes of Nikanda tuning in from Malaysia. Welcome to you. We've got Nikat from Azerbaijan. We've got Mehdi from Iran. We've got Ruan tuning in from Cambodia. We've got Tatiana tuning in from Serbia. Arya from UAE. We've got Kaylin from Bulgaria. We got Yogok tuning in from Brunel University, our webinar partner. We've got Samir Singh from India. We've got Munchkin from Norway as well. We've also got Salt tuning in from Philippines. We've got Buket tuning in from Turkey. Salah tuning in from Spain. Ashraf from India as well. Tanisa from Indonesia. Hemant from India. Tariq from Bangladesh. Asmita from Germany. We've got Anna from England, which is where I'm based as well. We've got Mohammed from Pakistan. Cosmina from Romania, Kushal from India, Lim from Malaysia, and Suma from Bangladesh. And finally, Shivanshu from India. So welcome to you. It's great to see that we've got very much kind of an international audience tuning in for this training session. So I hope that you find this session useful. Feel free to jot down notes, as I mentioned at the beginning of this session, just as we go along. You might kind of find that kind of golden nugget that you think, oh, yes, I'm going to take that away. This is what Rikesh was talking about. So feel free to kind of have that pen and paper on hand. Now, this training session that we're running on digital marketing strategy is one of many kind of webinars that we tend to run as part of a wider Google Digital Garage webinar offering. So if you have a look down below me where I'm pointing, there is a video description box. Contained within there, within one of those paragraphs, is a link to the Google Digital Garage website, where you are able to jump onto the Google Digital Garage website, like many of you did for this webinar session. Actually signed up for this webinar session at no charge, so you can actually have a look at some of the other digital marketing related webinar sessions that we do run that you can sign up for and attend at no charge as well. You'll also find the online courses section on the Google Digital Garage website. You'll find that on a different tab, where you will see a list of lots of online courses that are provided by Google at no charge, and these courses can be completed in your own time and at your own pace. And a lot of them do actually supplement the learning that you do on these webinar sessions as well. There is a course on there in particular called the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course, which you'll see appear first in the list. And the reason for that is that as an added bonus of that particular course, you will actually receive a certificate from Google at no charge, recognizing that you've completed that course as well. So definitely check out the Google Digital Garage website. It's a really fantastic hub of resources that you can kind of check out when you do get a moment. But let's have a look at what we're covering in today's webinar session on digital marketing strategy. So in this session, we're first of all going to be understanding digital marketing. So not kind of looking at it in terms of what is it, because digital marketing is essentially where you are promoting and marketing your products or services in the online space. But we're going to be looking at what's the upsides to that. So before we even look at, right, how do we create an online presence, or how do we build out an online presence for our business, we want to actually go through the validation process, which we're going to briefly go through before then moving on to the next part of this this session, which is all about looking at kind of the digital marketing channels, or the most common digital marketing channels that exist out there. Some of these you might be using, some of these you might have heard of, you might be aware of, you might have looked into some of these as well. And we're just going to go on a bit of a whistle-stop tour of them all, because each one of them pretty much can be their own webinar session to themselves. But we're just going to be kind of touching upon each one of them, what they are, what or how beneficial they can be if you do use these one of these types of digital marketing channels. Because when we get to the final part of this this webinar session, where we look at how do we build a digital marketing plan, it's going to be nice to have this kind of background in our mind to think, oh, these are some of the key digital marketing channels that exist out there now. And it's kind of a little bit of food for thought when you come to actually building out and creating your own digital marketing plan. And we'll be walking through kind of a step-by-step process. Hopefully you will have more of a kind of a clear idea which digital marketing channels might be useful and best suited for you. So before we go into the first part of this session, I want to draw your attention to this fantastic resource that you can see on screen here, which is that if you work for a small business or a charity and you're based in the UK, I know some of you are tuned in from the UK as well, then you are now eligible to sign up for a free one-to-one mentoring session available from Google. And you can sign up from Google Mentoring and find out more information using the link here on screen. I'm sure that Glenn will kindly drop a link into the live chat for you as well. So it's a really fantastic opportunity for you to have that more kind of tailored discussion in regards to kind of digital skills support that you require for your organization. Okay, let's kick off with kind of digital marketing. And the question I want to kind of throw out to you all here is, what opportunities might you get from being online? So let me know your thoughts in the live chat. What is kind of essentially, what are the upsides for a business, or what are kind of the upsides of you as, whether you're starting a business, whether you have an established business or a charity or an organization, what is kind of the upsides of you having an online presence? What does it help you to achieve? So let me know your thoughts to this question in the live chat. And this question actually has stemmed from essentially a very, very well-known fact, which we are all generally aware of, which is the fact that we live in a mobile world, that we now live in a mobile world. Our primary devices these days is the humble smartphone, right? You can see some kind of some statistics here on screen that kind of in the UK alone, 80% of people buy online. And this particular statistic was accurate to 2020. So I'm sure over the last couple of years, that figure might well have increased, to be fair, as well, in terms of how many people are kind of buying online in general as well. You can see that there's 2.5 billion smartphones that are in operation and use today. And I'm sure that number keeps kind of climbing and climbing, especially with kind of advancements in smartphones as well. And you can see across the world, 60% of searches are actually carried out on mobile devices. And this is very important as a statistic to just be aware of, because that 60% is quite a considerable number. So what we want to kind of think about when it comes to building out our own online presence as an organization is we want to think about making sure that we are mobile first. We are kind of catering to hopefully that 60%. I'm sure that figure will kind of rise and rise as more and more kind of individuals decide to have something like the smartphones as their kind of their main kind of device. Because if you think about kind of smartphones, it allows us to do everything from taking photos to browsing the internet, to using it for using it for kind of travel passes and tickets as well. So there's lots of kind of different uses for just coming from that one kind of small device itself as well. So just picking up on some of your answers to the question that I asked of what opportunities and kind of benefits that we get from having an online presence. So we've got an answer here from Callum, who's asked, you get to kind of know a wider range of customers, or you're able to kind of get out there to a wider range of customers, which you otherwise wouldn't have been able to. So yeah, kind of exposure, that kind of thing. We've also got Asmita, who's mentioned customer outreach is more. Yeah. So you're not kind of just limited, if you're kind of a local business, you're not just kind of limited to those who are in kind of the local community. By having an online presence, you're able to kind of get out there to customers who live further afield as well. Bilge's mentioned reach customers that are looking exactly at what you are selling. Yeah, so you're actually able to be kind of a bit more kind of laser focused on who is actually going to be most attracted to your business, your kind of product or service offering itself. Francisco's mentioned being online allows us to understand our target and the demographics, the target audience's demographics. Absolutely, you get to learn a little bit more about your customers as well. I'll mention that a bit more about that in just a moment as well. Nirali's mentioned connecting to a global audience, right? Yeah, absolutely. I think all of you have kind of mentioned kind of one of the benefits here, which is that reach. You can reach more people globally. That's kind of, I guess, the beauty of the internet. If you think about even today with this webinar session, kind of reading out where everybody's tuned in from, it's great to kind of see people tuning in from different parts of the world. And that's, I guess, kind of the beauty of running kind of webinar sessions on YouTube, that we do have that kind of reach, that we can kind of get out there and people are able to kind of tune in onto this one platform from different parts of the world as well. And this is something that rings true when it comes to having an online presence as a business as well. And what you can also do as a business is you can actually find out, well, is there much interest in a different country in what product or what service that you're selling? And there's tools out there that can help us with that. So you can actually see a screenshot here on screen of Google Trends. So Google Trends is a fantastic Google tool. It's available at no charge. If you just type in Google Trends or jump onto trends.google.com, you'll be able to kind of access this, and you'll be able to actually type in various search terms relating to your product, for example, and you can see what is the interest over the past year or past 5 years for your particular product, and you can compare that to maybe another market, maybe a new country that you are looking to kind of expand into, and see what the interest is over a set period of time as well. You can see with the example on screen of kind of the search term of running shoes, you can see the interest over time in the UK, and you can kind of compare that against the search term of running shoes in the United States as well. And you can do this with other countries. So definitely recommend that you check out Google Trends. It's really fantastic and kind of very insightful tool to kind of learn a little bit more about not only kind of the interest kind of closer to home, but also further afield if you're looking to expand as well. Now, this was something that was mentioned by some of you as well in terms of kind of learning more about our kind of customers. I believe it was mentioned by kind of by Francisco, was there's tools out there that help us to learn a bit more about our customers online, and they are tools such as the likes of, you've got Facebook, you've got Facebook Insights, you've also got Google Analytics. Now, Google Analytics is a very powerful tool all to itself, because it's a tool which essentially allows you, once linked to your business website, essentially allows you to track essentially every click that happens on that particular website as well. So much so that we actually run a 1 hour webinar session called Get Started with Analytics. So if that's of interest to you, definitely recommend that you check out the link in the video description box below and kind of sign up for the next available session, running session on that particular topic as well. But with both of these that you can see here on screen, you're able to kind of find out more information about your customers or the people that are most interested in what you've got to say and what you are essentially selling, whether it be a product or service. Because if we think about it, the more that we know about our customers, the more that we can promote and market our products and services to that kind of that type of customer. and hopefully we're going to be getting more customers off the back of that if we're kind of more kind of laser focused on specific types of customers and a niche of customers, then that's going to help us in the long run as well, in hopefully kind of acquiring more customers, acquiring more business in general, and growing as an organization as well. And kind of the other kind of upside to having kind of an online presence is that we're able to kind of communicate and support our customers and clients better. Now, a lot of the times, especially over kind of the last couple of years, the best way to kind of do that, or best way that a lot of organizations have found, is through the power of social media. So I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure many of you have kind of had those kind of scenarios where you might not have received the best service, or you might not have received the product that you wanted. And sometimes you can actually just naturally, rather than sending them an email to their generic customer services email address to that company, you can just maybe send them a direct message on Twitter, or jump onto another platform and kind of send them a message kind of privately, and they can hopefully resolve the issue for you as well. And for an organization, just having that online presence, you're making yourself more accessible as well, and kind of and making yourself kind of more seen to be actually being kind of contactable as well, rather than just having to people or customers having to kind of send out an email to your specific address. They can reach out to you through various other platforms that are available out there as well. So let me check in if there's any sort of comments or questions, which there aren't any at the moment, which is fine. But it's great that you've all been kind of getting involved even with that kind of first question that we kind of put out there as well. If you've got any comments, questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. And as I said, either myself and or Glenn will be able to kind of pick up on them as we go along. So let's have a look at kind of the digital marketing channels that kind of exist online, and specifically the ones that we're going to be going on a bit of a whistle-stop tour on are the ones that you can see here on screen, which we've identified as being kind of key channels to consider for digital marketing. And the word there, which is very important, is to consider. So as we go through kind of a whistle-stop tour here, it might kind of seem a little bit overwhelming. You think, wow, Rikesh, this is quite sort of information overload. But the reason why I want to go through all of these as options, is because some of these will resonate with you more than others. And you can jot down which ones those are, and then look to kind of research that in a little bit more detail going forward, and see whether that would be the right sort of fit for you and or your business. So we've got different ones that you can see here on screen. So social media, you've got display marketing, email, content marketing. Then you've got the kind of the search engine optimization, search engine marketing, which are both kind of bracketed under kind of one term, which is search marketing, which is where we're going to be kicking off. Now, when it comes to search marketing, the best place to actually start is this sort of page. So with this particular page, you can see this is kind of a screenshot here. And if you've ever searched for anything on Google and hit the enter button or hit that magnifying glass button, you would have been shown a page like this, albeit with different results. And this is what is known as a search engine results page. So with a search engine results page, if we actually break this down into kind of its natural elements, we've got kind of the yellow section, which is at the top, which is the search query. And where it's typed into is the search query box. So you type in best compact camera for travel, you type in whatever else that you're looking for. So best late night pizza London, whatever it might be that you are looking for or somebody's looking for, that is typed into the search query box. We've then got kind of the second element here, which is just after search query section, you get your first set of results. Now, these are typically going to be a combination of both shopping adverts and also text-based adverts as well. And the crucial thing to remember here is that these are paid for. So the reason why they appear first is because the people who or kind of the retailers in this example are actually paying for the privilege to appear up first in this advertising space itself. And we'll be touching a little bit more upon kind of the advertising section coming up in just a moment. But what we want to focus on first up, there's actually this green box, which is what is known as the organic search listings. So just by very virtue of you having a website, you will typically appear within this section. or your business's website will appear within this section. Now, you might not necessarily appear just after, within, let's say, one of these first 3 slots, just after the adverts have appeared. So you'll typically appear on page 1. You might appear on page 5 of the Google search results. You might appear on page 10 or 15 as well. But what we essentially want to do is we want to make sure that we improve the quality of our website content in order for us to hopefully get as close as possible to this first page, if not ideally get onto the first page of the search results as well. And there's there's hundreds of factors that kind of come into play when it comes to actually making sure that we make improvements to our website. Now, this is essentially kind of like a process which takes time to get hopefully on the first page of results. So we do get that bit more kind of visibility in general. And this is a process known as search engine optimization. This is the first kind of digital marketing channel that we're just touching upon here. And our main goal here is to help search engines like Google, not only to kind of find our website content, but also to make sense of it, to understand what it's all about as well. So that's why it's very important to kind of make sure that you have good kind of website or web page titles, for example, as well. And a really useful tool when it comes to the search engine optimization process to actually monitor your progress in terms of is your average page ranking, is it number 10, and then it's are you able to monitor, are you going to number 8, are you going to number 5, are you getting to number 4? And the way that you can monitor that is by using another Google tool which is available at no charge, called Google Search Console. Now, Google Search Console, fantastic tool. Once you've kind of linked it to your website, it will kind of show you your average page ranking as well. So definitely recommend that you check out that tool. It's a great way, again, of just monitoring your progress in general as well. But some top tips for kind of search engine optimization is that you can run some keyword research. So keywords are words or phrases that people type into that search query box. So best compact camera for travel is a keyword. The word camera is a keyword. It could be, where can I get the best late night pizza in London? That is a keyword, even though it's a question as well, and it's quite long. So you can do some kind of research in terms of finding out what people are typing in into kind of the search query boxes. You can do that through either Google Trends, the tool that we touched upon earlier on, or there's another tool called the Keyword Planner. Now, the Keyword Planner tool is actually built into the Google Ads platform, but you can actually use the Keyword Planner tool without having to run any adverts. So, but the actual tool is actually built in to the Google Ads platform. So once you've signed up for Google Ads, you can then access that tool at no charge. You can see here also, make sure that with your website content, you want to make sure that it's useful, it's high quality content. So when people do actually come onto your website, they're actually staying there, or they're actually engaging, interacting with it as well. And also make sure that web pages are search friendly. So thinking about kind of page titles that we touched upon a moment or so ago. Now, an extension of kind of search engine optimization is making sure that we're not kind of isolating our kind of local community as well, because we want to make sure that we are kind of reaching the people that kind of maybe live nearer to us as well. And there's various platforms that are useful and helpful that you can see here on screen that can help us to ensure that we are being found locally, as well as kind of further afield through our business website presence, and also thinking about kind of social media profiles that we've set up as well. And one of the ways in which we can actually make sure that we're able to kind of get our visibility out there from a local perspective is by setting ourselves up with a Google business profile, which you can see that kind of looks a little bit like this, how it appears on kind of a mobile. So you've got kind of the name of the business, you've got kind of star ratings, the number of reviews that have been left in brackets, you've got kind of the address here as well, opening hours, a menu section if kind of relevant to the business as well. And the beauty of having a business profile is that we're able to show people that are active, especially over the last couple of years with businesses. Certain businesses might not have been open, certain businesses might have been open on or kind of working on a reduced hours basis as well. So it's a great place to show our visibility. And this is another place that we can showcase our visibility on Google as well. So it's great to kind of get that kind of exposure out there as well. Now, when it comes to setting up a setting up a Google business profile, we can actually do this at no charge, which is great. And once we've set up and added in our kind of our basic information like opening hours, the address, the name, as well, is then we can also kind of add in things like photos. So we're all kind of drawn to kind of photos, images, even videos as well tend to work really well depending on the business as well. We can also add in kind of a virtual tour, so you can download something like the Google Street View app onto your smartphone, actually create a 360-degree image of maybe the interior of your store, for example, and then that can be uploaded to your Google business profile as well. And it's also a great place to kind of get feedback and reviews going forward as well. And when it comes to both kind of your Google business profile and also thinking about kind of the search engine optimization process that we looked at a moment or so ago, we actually kind of deep dive a little bit more into both of these in our webinar session called Get Your Business Visible on Google. So if you want to learn a little bit more about this, definitely recommend that you sign up and check out the next running session on that particular topic going forward as well. So let's now actually have a look at kind of the differences between what we've just spoken about with this search engine optimization process, specifically kind of making improvements to your website in order to kind of hopefully climb those rankings and then hopefully be that first result just after the advert section, and something known as search engine marketing, or SEM for short. So I think in the marketing world, everybody seems to love a good acronym. So you got SEO, SEM, but just to kind of break things down and make things kind of easier, I just like to kind of break things up and be like, search engine optimization. This is kind of an organic way of being found by improving kind of the quality of your website, and by hopefully improving general kind of factors, because there are hundreds of factors at play which will kind of determine where you will be placed in terms of your website listing itself as well. And then search engine marketing. So with SEO, with search engine optimization, your search listings are free, so they just appear just as by very virtue of you having a kind of an active website. You essentially go through the process of optimizing those keywords. So you use Google Trends, you use the keyword planner tool to kind of make sure that your website content that you kind of write out is in alignment with what people are typing and what they're searching for as well. But I guess the caveat or the drawback, I guess, to this is that it can take time to get onto that first page of Google and maybe get onto that kind of that sweet spot just after the adverts be the first result there. And that's where search engine marketing comes into play. Or another term for search engine marketing that you could kind of use is search advertising as well. So this is where you're actively playing to be in that kind of that blue box section that we looked at earlier on. And this is where you kind of go into an auction and you place a bid in terms of which keywords that you want your advert to show up for. So if somebody types in best compact camera for travel, you can bid on that particular keyword. And if your bid is kind of successful, or you are kind of one of the 4 successful bidders, because there's 4 advertising slots available, especially with text-based adverts on Google, then you will appear within that section as well. And the beauty of this is that you are kind of paying your way to the top. So you're getting yourself onto the first page of the Google search results this way. Now, obviously, the drawback to this is that you've got to pay. So that will kind of that will be kind of dependent on what your kind of budget and resources are in terms of kind of using this particular digital marketing option as well. So it's just kind of weighing up all of your options as well. But it's a great way of kind of getting that exposure very, very quickly going forward as well. Now, with search engine marketing, we would create a campaign, a search campaign through the Google Ads platform. And as I mentioned, the Google Ads platform houses the keyword planner tool. And more so than ever, it's very important to use the keyword planner tool, especially when there's money at stake, because when we're kind of running Google Ads, and when we've kind of got money at stake, we want to make sure that we're getting a return on investment. So it's very important to monitor the words and phrases that people use, because over a period of time, our search behaviors change. So even that phrase "near me," we weren't really using that like 7-8 years ago that often in Google search, whereas now I can just type in "pizza near me," and I'll see loads of different results that appear. Whereas maybe years ago, I would have just typed in, I don't know, pizza in London or wherever I am in the world, to be fair. And then once we've kind of created, kind of gone through the process of setting ourselves up with a search campaign, choosing which keywords to create, we then want to create a compelling ad. And that kind of involves us generally kind of writing out kind of various ad headlines to grab attention from hopefully our ideal type of customers and clients. And we do kind of deep dive into search engine marketing or kind of search advertising in our webinar session called Get Started with Digital Advertising. So again, if you want to kind of learn a little bit more about this, definitely recommend that you check this out. Check out that particular webinar session whenever it's running next as well. Now, some top tips with search engine marketing is optimize your keyword list, as I mentioned, especially because we want to try and get that return on investment. You can boost your ads with things like extensions. So ad extensions are those things which you might have actually searched something on Google on your smartphone, and when you see the advert that does appear, you'll see the button that says maybe call. Or you might see the button that says email. If you click on the word email, for example, then if you've got the ad extension enabled, then when you click on email or click on the envelope icon, then you essentially would have, when you click on that, you would essentially jump through to your email app, your email client that you have on your smartphone, and there'll be kind of a blank email that would be created with the actual email address for that business that particular link is created for as well. And similarly with if you click on the telephone or the call icon, then there'll be a pop-up that comes up on your smartphone that says, would you like to call this number? You can either click call or you can click cancel going forward as well. And you have these ad extensions that you can enable naturally, and they're available at no charge. But sometimes it can be, when you're kind of going through the process of setting up these adverts, it's something that can be easily kind of forgotten about as well. So you just want to enable them. It's just another kind of avenue of making things easy or easier for your customers or potential customers to kind of reach out and get and kind of reach out to you, especially in general as well. And also with adverts, you want to monitor your progress. So you can do this through Google Ads as a platform, but then you can kind of level this up even further and actually connect your Google Ads account to your Google Analytics account. And as I mentioned, Google Analytics essentially lets you track every click that happens on your business website. So you can link Google Ads to your Google Analytics account and actually find out more information about what people are doing when they come to your website, even though they're coming through kind of advertising means as well. And that will help you to hopefully make improvements going forward as well. Now, another type of digital marketing channel that exists is display marketing, or kind of display advertising. So what are display ads? So these are what display ads are. You can actually see here on screen with these kind of yellow boxes. They will typically, a lot of the time, I've seen they do tend to come kind of in image-based form. They can be text-based. They can also be video-based. But the crucial difference here is that it's different to search engine marketing or search advertising in that these adverts don't appear on search engines. They actually appear on other people's websites or publisher sites. So you might have noticed these appear on maybe things like kind of food blogs, food blog websites, or your local news website perhaps as well. So this is kind of another digital marketing kind of channel avenue that you want to maybe consider as well. So if you wanted to kind of run these ads, or these types of ads, you can actually still use the same platform of Google Ads, but the campaign that you're creating here is a display campaign. You then want to choose specifically what type of websites that you want your advert to appear on. So let's say that your business is that you sell bicycle pumps. Then you can maybe look to get really kind of selective about your targeting and make sure that your adverts only appear on blogs about kind of mountain bikes, for example, as well. And then something very, very important with display advertising is making sure that your advert is eye-catching. Because a lot of the times when we see these adverts that do appear at the top or at the bottom or at the sides of articles that we want to actually read, we tend to kind of naturally ignore them. So we want them to kind of stand out as much as possible as well. And that all comes from understanding our customers. What do they want? What's maybe their pain points? what really kind of what would drive them to maybe click onto an advert and learn a bit more about your product or your service offering as well. You can also kind of supercharge this process by using things like remarketing. So remarketing is a little bit like where maybe you've searched for, I don't know, a pair of jeans before one day, and then maybe you get called away and you don't get a chance to carry on browsing for a pair of jeans. And if that's the case, then when you do kind of start browsing for a pair of jeans again, maybe a couple of days later, and you're kind of looking at different websites, what you might find is you might find a display advert that will keep following you for the same pair of jeans that you looked at the other day. And that is what is known as remarketing, or kind of a form of remarketing as well. And again, with display advertising, because it is a type of advertising and you are paying for the privilege of running these adverts on publisher sites, is that you want to test them, see what's working, see what's not working, and then always look to kind of make improvements, whether it be to the images, whether it be to kind of the text, whether it be to the actual placements of where those adverts will appear. You always want to be kind of optimizing the way that or where they appear, when they appear as well, going forward as well. So that is display advertising as well. You've also got another digital marketing channel, which is social media, or social media marketing. So how can social media actually help a business to grow? Well, it can help to generate more sales, which is to get us more money, which is great. So this is very, very important, especially because social media is, you might have heard of that phrase, is very much kind of the attention economy. It's where a lot of eyeballs are, right? I mean, in the UK alone, over 85% of the population in the UK have a presence on social media. So from a business perspective, it's a phenomenal place to reach customers online. And that kind of helps us naturally to kind of create new business opportunities off the back of that, and to build relationships and networks as well. We can also add value to our brand as well. And that kind of goes in line with what we touched upon at the very beginning of this webinar session, as in terms of one of those reasons or kind of opportunities why we have a presence or why we should have a presence online, is that we can communicate and support our customers and clients better, because they can reach out to us. If they've got a query, if they've got a question, they can reach out to us, send us a message on one of the social media platforms as well. So through that, we're actually raising customer service levels in general as well. And we can actually start a two-way dialogue. We can run things like Twitter polls, for example, to find out what people are looking for next. And we're able to maybe showcase new sides to our business as well. And also, naturally, by having a social media presence, we're improving our marketing as well. So it can help us to kind of get noticed on search. So if you right now, if you've got access to kind of another device that you're not tuned in to this webinar session for as well, if you were to kind of Google maybe your favorite brand right now, then the chances are, as well as kind of seeing on the results page, you seeing a link for their main website, you will typically also see a link for their Instagram or their YouTube channel or their Facebook page as well. So it's a great way of being kind of noticed by having a social media presence as well. Now, you get two types of social media. So you get organic social media, or kind of free social media. Now you can do this right now so if you've got a social media presence, if you've got a YouTube channel, you can upload a video. If you've got an Instagram account, you can upload a photo with a caption, for instance. And you can do this right now, and it doesn't cost you a penny. However, the drawback to this is that you will only be able to reach a proportion of the people that follow you, or follow your content in general. So you're quite sort of limited in terms of your reach. And that's where paid social media comes into play. So this is where you're essentially paying for the privilege of getting out there in front of more people, and potentially getting out in front of more potential customers as well. Especially if you have been using platforms like Google Analytics and some of the other social media platforms, some of the other social media analytical tools, which are built into the likes of kind of YouTube, built into the likes of Twitter and Facebook, etc., to find out a little bit more about what your customer base are interested in. You can then use that when you are running kind of paid for adverts on social media. Now, again, with paid social media, it's like the same with running adverts on search engines, like running adverts on publisher sites, is that it's paid for. So that's the drawback to that, but it's just a consideration at this stage, whether you have maybe kind of the budget and resources to actually run this. But the beauty of paid social media and running adverts is that you're able to get into kind of the news feeds, you're able to get into the timelines of people who otherwise would not have known about you as well. So you're able to kind of get that get more visibility rather than being kind of just constricted by a proportion of people that kind of follow you. You're able to kind of open that that kind of barrier up there as well. Now with social media, to get started, you want to identify maybe your target audience or target audiences, because there might be multiple. Then you want to be very selective of which social media channel or channels that you have a presence on. And it's important not to kind of spread yourself thin with that as well, because you want to really pinpoint where are your most interested customers spending time on the most. And then you want to look to kind of create useful and valuable content for those social media channels going forward as well. And we actually dive a little bit more into all of this in our social media strategy session, but also our writing for social media webinar session as well. So both of those are available for you to kind of sign up for. Definitely check out when the next available running session on those topics are. So social media strategy is one of them, and the other one is writing for social media. So definitely check out the link in the video description box below for the Google Digital Garage website. So some top tips for success with this digital marketing channel, social media marketing, is set yourself a goal. So social media from a personal point of view, we tend to be on social media to keep in touch with friends, family, send people gifts, or memes, for example. But from a business perspective, we want to look at social media as a means to an end. And what do we want to get out of social media? Do we want to get more people going to our website? Do we want to kind of increase kind of visibility? So let's say you've got a new sportswear brand that you've launched, and you want to get that visibility. You want more people kind of talking about you and kind of being aware of you, and kind of when they're talking about kind of brands that have been around for a long period of time, like Nike or Adidas, you want to be associated with that as well, that you are kind of a well-established brand as well. What is your goal? So definitely set yourself a goal of what you're looking to achieve as well. It's a little bit like kind of if you're kind of taking walking direction or driving direction somewhere, you kind of set in your sat nav where you're looking to go, and that's your goal, where you want to get to. And it's nice to kind of have that goal to kind of use that kind of focal point going forward as well. Also understand your audience, and understand your audience is very easy to do actually through social media platforms, because you've got Instagram insights, you've got Facebook insights, you've got YouTube analytics, you've got Twitter analytics. They're actually built into the platforms, which is really, really great for you to kind of tap into yourself as well. And also the thing with social media is it can be a wall of noise. So you want to kind of make sure that you are posting on a regular basis, but also on a consistent basis as well. And consistency, when it comes to social media, consistency builds trust with an audience and a potential customer base as well. Now, you've got another digital marketing channel I want to touch upon here, which is email marketing. So what is email marketing? Well, it is kind of exactly what it kind of refers to. Email marketing is when you are essentially sending out emails to either one or a handful of people, or 100 people, or 1,000 people, however big your email list is as well. But one thing to know with email marketing is that it's permission based. So the people that you do send an email out to, they need to opt in to receive those emails from you. So with email marketing, there's lots of kind of email marketing platforms that are around. Some are kind of some are free, or some have kind of free options. So you've got the likes of MailChimp, which you might have heard of before. So MailChimp has kind of a free option, although it's kind of limited in terms of maybe how many emails you can send out, or kind of how much kind of information you can kind of read off the back of that, how many people are open that email going forward as well. You've got more advanced email platforms that are available out there as well. You can build a list of relevant contacts, and the crucial word there is being relevant. So people who are interested to hear from you, whether it be a newsletter, whether it be hearing about new product launches that you've got going on as well. And then once you've kind of built up that list, you then want to think about what content to actually fill out with that email that you're going to be sending out to your contacts as well. So some top tips for success with email marketing is just kind of segment your list of contacts, and kind of maybe send different types of content to different contacts. who are most interested in certain kind of topics, for example. Test out your email, see how it looks on smartphone, on tablets, especially smartphone. Remember, we live in a mobile world. Think about kind of tablets, see how it looks also on kind of on a desktop computer as well. And then use kind of email marketing platforms, the tools that are built into these platforms like MailChimp, where you can monitor things like the open rate. So how many of those people that you send an email to, how many of those actually open that email? How many actually then click on the link that's within your email as well? You can measure all of these things going forward as well to improve your digital marketing efforts with email marketing as well. And then the final one I want to touch upon, final digital marketing channel I want to touch upon here is content marketing. So content marketing is kind of less about kind of sell, whether it be a product or service, but it's more about using content or different forms of content. You can see examples of a few here on screen to actually get somebody down the process of buying from you. So you think things like kind of photos, videos, case studies, blogs as well. So with content marketing, you want to kind of look to kind of build customer example profiles. So you can kind of create maybe a kind of picture who would be your ideal type of customer or client. You then want to think about your customer journey map. So let's say, for example, that I am I'm somebody that you want to sell to, but I've never heard of your product or service before. So you want to get me from kind of the starting point of, okay, this is a potential customer who's never heard about me before, right the way through to the end, which is that this customer has actually bought from me and will hopefully buy from me again, and maybe might recommend me to friends or family or kind of wider support network as well. And it's using different pieces of content to get that person down the journey as well, going forward. Now, some top tips with content marketing. You can see here, we want to kind of distribute content as much as possible, and this kind of where it filters into some of the other digital marketing channels that we touched upon, like social media. You can even think about the likes of kind of display advertising as well, email marketing as well, and also kind of measuring your performance with the content that you're creating. But the most kind of important tip, top tip that you can see here on screen, which I think is very kind of underutilized at times by a lot of organizations, is the power of storytelling. Now, storytelling is a really powerful tool for us as humans. It's kind of the reason why we watch episode after episode after episode of a television show. It's the reason that we go and watch movies or a kind of a franchise of movies, is because we're interested and invested in the storyline as well. And that's what we're able to hopefully look to kind of create when it comes to some of our content to get people more invested and get them down that kind of sales journey in general as well. So just check in if there's any sort of comments or questions. So let's have a look. Let's have a comments and questions. So I believe that Glenn has been answering that. I believe that there are a lot of kind of questions coming through, but I'll kind of try and pick up on some more of your questions towards the end of this session if we have time, because I actually want to kind of spend a little bit of time towards the end of this session looking at how we can build out a digital marketing plan. So these are essentially the 6 steps to building out a digital marketing plan or a strategy, however you wish to kind of phrase this, which we have identified as kind of a nice kind of blueprint or a nice kind of framework to kind of work from going forward as well. So we'll be kind of running through each one of these. So feel free to kind of jot each one of these down as we kind of go along, right the way from kind of number 1 of business goals and objectives, right the way through to the end of measuring performance using SMART goals. So first up is thinking about kind of our business goals and objectives. And what we want to use here throughout this particular plan is we want to use a business as an example. So we've got, hi, I'm Max. I'm a hairdresser. My business goals are. So Max has actually told us that their business goals are to get more customers through my door, new and past, and make more people in my area know that my business exists. Fantastic. Okay, that's a great business goal. Now, what we want to do with this is we want to align Max's business goal with an online objective. So online objectives are kind of subtle changes or subtle shifts between business goal to making it kind of more online specific. So increase traffic to websites, increase number of people that are coming through to a website, increase online sales, get more people to kind of engage and interact with social media, increase online reach and awareness as well. So for example, with Max here, so let's say one of their business goals, I know it was kind of part of their wider business goal, was to make more people aware that they exist. So that was a business goal. Now the kind of the online objective translation to this is to increase online reach and awareness. So it's just a subtle shift, and you might think, it doesn't really make sense to kind of spend time with this, but there's a reason for this. It's the reason why we've put this at the very beginning of what we've identified to be a good digital marketing plan, is because it gives us that kind of that focal point when it comes to our wider digital marketing strategy. Okay, what's our main objective here? What's our main goal? Well, it's to increase online reach and awareness. And because we're framing it and we're talking about it in an online sense, it helps us to hopefully achieve that goal much quicker as well. Another business goal example here was if you want to sell more products. So maybe Max actually has a range of hair care products that they want to sell online. Well, business goal would be to sell more products. The online objective of that would be to increase website sales as well. So you can see that it's quite just kind of a subtle shift there as well. Now you got kind of step 2 here, which is budget and resource as well. And this is where you want to be very kind of honest and open with yourself, or with kind of business partners that you have as well, and just kind of really evaluate where you are at this stage. What's kind of your budget and resources? So Max has been rather honest and said to us here, I don't have a website yet as it's too much of an investment right now. And that's fine, because that might kind of rule out things like running adverts on search engines. It might rule out at this stage running adverts on social media, for example, as well. But that's fine, because you can always come back to this and reevaluate your circumstances at a later stage as well. Now, step 3 of the digital marketing plan is identifying and understanding your audience, your target audience as well. So Max has actually identified for their hair businesses that I'm targeting females in my local area. My most valuable customers are females above 30 years old. They normally have children and work part-time. Most of them use Facebook. So just by kind of reading this out, the sense that I tend to get with Max is that they have an established hairdressing business already, and that's what's allowed them to actually find out this information about their most kind of interested target audience as well. But also they've spent time on social media platforms like Facebook, and they've gauged what is kind of the feeling, and most of them are using that particular platform as well. So maybe it's kind of a hybrid of kind of previous past customers that they've kind of got this picture from, but also just by kind of having an online presence and learning a little bit more about their customer base off the back of that as well. So you can see here, just it's not even that long of a paragraph here, but this is all you need to kind of get going with kind of understanding who your audience is. And again, you can come back to this. You can always refine it. You can always add extra things if you think that there's a couple of other types of key audiences that you want to kind of target and who are most interested in your business offering as well. We then got kind of step 4 here, which is marketing channels and deciding which digital marketing channels are going to be right for your business as well. And this is why it was very important that we spent time and actually went through those digital marketing channels, or the key digital marketing channels that we identified that exist out there, because hopefully that's kind of painted a little bit of a picture for you, so that you are at least aware of some of these, even though you might not necessarily, let's say, have the budget to run display adverts at this stage. At least you're aware of it, and you think, maybe I can look to do that for a certain period of time if I'm launching a new product, and I've got the budget to do so at a later stage as well. But with your marketing channels that you do choose, you don't need to choose them all, because again, you're spreading yourself thin unless you've kind of got a huge kind of marketing team that's going to help you to kind of go down each one of these pathways, and you think that it's going to be useful and everybody's going to be receptive to all of these types of channels, digital marketing channels, which is quite rare to do. But if you do kind of consider that option, then that's fine. But a lot of the times organizations do tend to just kind of just select a handful, so maybe 2, maybe 3, kind of focus on them going forward as well. And you can see here with these kind of 2 boxes on screen that with your digital marketing channels that you do select, you want to make sure that they align with your online objective, which was step 1 of this digital marketing plan that we discussed. Now, what you can see here on screen, this is not kind of a very much kind of a rigid formula or rigid structure. So if your online objective is to increase website sales, for example, it doesn't mean that you have to go through search engine marketing. So run adverts on search engines. It doesn't mean you need to kind of go through search engine optimization. So improving your website and go through email marketing, and that's it. It doesn't mean that kind of social media marketing is excluded. It doesn't mean that other types of marketing is excluded for you as well. It's just kind of piecing together what is going to be right in terms of your digital marketing channel, which is in line with your online objectives specifically as well. So it's very important to kind of be selective of your digital marketing channel. I'd always kind of say steer on the side of caution and kind of start off with maybe one digital marketing channel, even if it's something like search engine optimization. That's something which you can do at no charge, improving the quality of your website content. You can use tools like Google Search Console that I mentioned earlier on to monitor how well you're kind of progressing with your average page ranking. And then maybe look to kind of expand into kind of social media, create a profile on a particular platform, and then see how receptive people are as well with that. So that's kind of step 4 with kind of deciding which digital marketing channel or channels are going to be right for you. Now, step 5 is plan your activity, or I like to kind of rephrase this to the action phase. And for me, this is probably the most important. You can see here with the speech bubble for Max that my online objectives are to reach more people in the local area, get more returning customers. Don't have a website yet, as it's too mature investment right now. How can I use digital to help me? So what we've done here is we've given in the blue speech bubbles here, we've given Max 3 specific actions for them to take. One is to get their business listed by creating themselves a Google business profile, which they can do at no charge. Also through creating their Google business profile, they can actually create a free website. They can also do this generally through Google Sites, which is great because they didn't necessarily have the budget to kind of build and create a website themselves, so they can do that. So that kind of ticks something off for them. They can also set up a Facebook business page to collect reviews, post photos of customer hairstyles as well, because they mentioned that their audience generally kind of spend time on Facebook. And also with this is kind of an action point which is maybe kind of to be confirmed, is maybe use any limited budget that they might have or might look to set aside to run Facebook ads to target people in their local area with an offer to attract new customers as well. And this is very much, as I mentioned, this is very much for me the most important step, even though it kind of appears as step 5 because it kind of follows in kind of a chronological order. But if it's with any kind of strategy or with any plan, it's just going to remain on paper, or it's just going to remain on a screen if you don't actually take tangible action steps going forward as well. So it's very important to kind of take action steps and set yourself action steps. And once you've gone through maybe one action step, it will then kind of give rise to another action step, another action step that you then take. And that's something that can help kind of snowball. And then soon you'll be kind of, you'll be on your way to hopefully creating a very kind of refined digital marketing presence for your business as well. And step 6, which is the final step here of the digital marketing plan, is measuring how well you are performing. And that actually comes from creating SMART goals. Now, SMART goals or SMART objectives, as they're also known by, you can see the word SMART is in capitals. Now, the reason for that is not because I want to shout the word SMART to you. It's because SMART stands for an acronym, which are kind of objectives or goals which are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time sensitive as well. So examples of broad objectives which don't really give you too much kind of room to kind of measure and perform are things like to increase online sales. Something that's a bit more refined to that is to increase online sales by 20% within 3 months, or increase online sales of a particular product going forward as well. So you're just kind of adding a little more kind of substance going forward as well. So that's essentially kind of the digital marketing plan kind of strategy that we created for Max the hairdresser here. And this is essentially the 6 blocks that Max will be kind of working from. So you don't need to have kind of pages and pages long for a digital marketing strategy. As long as you've got kind of the basics to work from, you can add to this and refine this at a later stage going forward as well. So they are essentially the 6 steps to building a digital marketing plan that we've identified going forward as well. So let's have a quick check if there's any sort of final questions, which I believe that Glenn has been answering kindly in the chat, as we are coming up to time very shortly. So let's run into our next steps now. So in terms of our next steps, one of your next steps to definitely check out if this is applicable to you. So if you work for a small business or a charity and you're based in the UK, definitely check out Google Mentoring. And you can have a look at the link on screen here. I'm sure that Glenn will kind of drop this link to this once again in the live chat for you as well. Really fantastic opportunities for you to have kind of more tailored discussions about digital skills support for your business or charity as well. So I hope that you found this session useful. If you did, both myself and Glenn would appreciate a little bit of feedback. Let us know what you enjoyed. We've got a feedback form link on screen here, which I'm sure that Glenn will kindly again drop in a link to in the live chat. Feel free to share your experience, how you found this Google Digital Garage webinar session. If you're going to share your experience on something like social media, feel free to include our hashtag, which is hashtag Digital Garage as well. Feel free to also check out the link in the video description box below. Sign up for more webinars. Remember, also check out the online courses section. It's the Fundamentals of Digital Marketing course, which is the first course you'll see on that page, which is the course that you will receive a certificate at no charge from Google, recognizing that you've completed that course as well. So apart from that, I want to say a massive thank you to our webinar partner, Brunel University. I also want to say a massive thank you to Glenn, who I'm sure will agree has been a wonderful chat moderator. And thank you all for tuning in to this Google Digital Garage webinar session. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you. Goodbye.